Christian Aid Nigeria says there's an urgent need to protect women from numerous risks of violence confronting them. The country director, Tope Fashola, made this known at an event to mark the 2023 16 Days of Activism on Gender-Based Violence. Fashola says there is need to come up with policies and resources to support better planning and implementation of recommendations.
Today being the 12th day of the 16 Days of Activism, as part of Christian Aid's activities of marking or commemorating the 16 days of activism for gender-based violence in Nigeria, we have organized this press conference amidst other activities that we're doing, one of which is the capacity building that we are currently undergoing with our partners to try to address the knowledge gap around gender transformative programming.
Economic insecurity, disrupted livelihoods, and limited social protection continue to increase women's and girls' vulnerability to violence, which negatively affects their physical and mental health and impacts their professional development and economic empowerment. It also has broader social and economic consequences for families, communities, and societies, thereby impeding the achievement of sustainable development. VAG is, however, preventable through the transformative gender justice approach, a core strategy of Christian Aid's gender equality and social inclusion strategy that envisions a society where systems of oppression that continue to discriminate against persons based on gender, socio-economic status, religious belief, race, disability, and other identities are dismantled and substantive equality for all is achieved.
There is need for government to promote gender equality while challenging harmful gender practices, work with faith and traditional leaders such as the side-by-side movement and local leaders to challenge cultural norms that promote violence and discrimination against women and girls. Faith actors and community leaders should support advocacy initiatives targeted at influencing the implementation and adoption of the VAP law and the passage of the Child Rights Act in most states, especially at subnational levels, and also looking at most of the northern states. We also request for legal support and access to justice, enhancing access to legal aid services and justice systems for survivors of gender-based violence, strengthening collaborations between law enforcement agencies and community-based organizations to ensure survivors receive the necessary support and perpetrators are held accountable.
Under no circumstances is violence against women is encouraged or allowed in Islam, because we are here discussing about gender justice and violence against women and girls. And there is no anywhere in the Quran and Hadith, that is the prophetic saying of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because you can see the men and the women are created in one soul, because the Quran emphasized on that. It said it's calling on all mankind, not the Muslims, not the Jews, not the Christians, but the whole mankind in all faiths. If you are living, including the men and the women, that we have created you in one soul.
In conflict-sensitive environments, there's more gender-based violence. And we have also partnered with different partners, in those, as part of our localization agenda, to really address and, provide information and help those women that have been impacted by this gender-based violence, to kind of begin to, like a post-traumatic work that we do with them, to enable them to resettle in those communities, to enable them to kind of really go through that whole very difficult experience. I know linking them, again, we're a faith-based organization, linking them access to, our faith-based partners as well, and ensuring that they're able to, really go through this. But again, what is also important that we're doing is we're also educating young men, in those communities, because at the end of the day, who perpetrates gender-based violence. So it's really important that this is, a two-way approach where you're looking at addressing all of the root causes, like we kind of learned over the last day around what are the root causes of gender-based violence. But the transformative approach is also targeting specific, subpopulations like the young men in the communities, and then helping them to understand, why this is not the right thing to do, and why it's important that, collectively they protect the women and the young girls in those communities.